Risa, thanks for taking the time to sit down with me. I appreciate it.
Not a problem.
Risa, can you tell us a little bit about Grassland, Oregon, and what you do, what makes you folks tick?
Well, Grassland, Oregon's been around since 2000. We were kind of came from the ABT world. When that all happened, we decided we needed to start our own company, and we had some very exciting ideas of what we thought the industry could use, and thought we had some really good things to offer.
Great. We keep hearing talk about cover crops and the importance and the significance, but yet we don't hear a lot at ASTA here in Chicago this week. Can you talk to me a little bit about that?
Actually, I think we've been hearing quite a bit, and we've been a very popular booth. I think it's really exciting. We've got a really good story to tell. There's a lot of need, as we start thinking about how we're going to invest in our soils and how are we going to sustain them for the future generations. And, with water management and input management, we've got some really good things to talk about.
What does that mean for the, as it relates to the, as what people here would say, to the key crops, to the corn guys and the soybean guys?
Well, that's where some of the interest is coming from and boiling up from. As we have been very dependent on chemicals and fertilizers, and there's a good need for those. They've provided some very good solutions. But as we've started doing crop on crop, and we've got a counter-cyclical, we've got a downtime in between those cash crops. And what we're finding is some of the soils are becoming depleted, or some of the resources under the ground we haven't been paying attention to, and we're finding that we really do need to pay attention to what's going on there. And that's what cover crops, I think, is a huge opportunity and some things that we can offer.
So when we're talking cover crops, what are you advocating for?
Oh boy, that's a wide open question, and I don't think there's an easy answer to that, because it really depends on what your goals are. Okay. Is it water management? Is it erosion control? Is it nutrient management? There's so many tools in the toolbox that we can use, and it depends on the region, it depends on the crop, it depends on the time of year and the cycle that you're in. And Grassland, Oregon, one of the things that we talk about to try and kind of help distill down on that conversation is the ABCs of cover crop. Okay. Are they affordable? And they need to be affordable. They can't break the bank. Are they beneficial? You need to have clear and measurable results so that they know what the benefits are. And then they need to be complementary to the cropping cycle. It has to be compatible to what you're already doing. We can't recreate the wheel and give them too many things to think about and do.
So these conversations that you're having, are these initial conversations that are being initiated, or are these people coming to you saying, I know I need to do this, help me do it?
A little bit of both.
Okay.
And it's really interesting. I think that's one of the things I'm taking away from this meeting is, some of these companies have been anticipating the needs of growers, and they've done a very good job on the cash crops, on the crops that they're extremely focused on. And I think what they're finding is there's an opportunity on that counter cycle. When traditionally ground is going fallow, we've got an excellent opportunity to do some really good things to the soil and rebuild it and make it sustainable. It's a win-win.
So stewardship and sustainability is part of the push. Is there any other drivers that are impacting on this?
Oh, I think, there's short and long-term goals. I think when people traditionally talk about cover crops, it's a longer process. Soil health, it takes some time, maybe 5 to 7 years. But there's some very good short-term benefits we can see with yield potential, yield increases. Again, the water management, are we going to, creating some drainage, or even holding the moisture in the soil for the next crop that's coming. Right. So those are immediate results that we can see.
Right. So when we look at forage and turf, how do seed treatments fit into the mix as far as you folks are concerned?
From Grassland, Oregon's perspective, we've been watching that market for some time. I think we're still in the learning process. I think there are some exciting things coming out. From our perspective, we've looked more at the ballistic quality and then how do you add those treatments in? And again, it's like cover crops. What are you trying to accomplish? You've got to identify the goals, and then you can meet those challenges and those needs that they're, but it needs to be need driven. It can't be, we've got a great idea and then try and push it into the market.
And is there a need right now when we talk seed treatments in forage and turf?
I think there are some opportunities,
right.
And specifically for, I think in some areas, emergence, getting things established when you want them established. Right. I'm understanding there's some good technologies coming out for increasing yields, and again, it's probably in the cycle and the timing.
Right. So there's not a lot of forage and turf folks here in Chicago.
No, in fact, I had somebody come up and say, you know, we don't do grass here.
Perfect. Welcome. Yeah, exactly. So, Grassland, what was the impetus to making the plunge? Obviously, to talk about cover crops for sure.
That was one of the main drivers, is I
Right.
think we want to start connecting the dots and having the right conversations.
Excellent. And what makes Grassland, Oregon unique? Why are you guys ahead of the curve on this? Why are you be able to come here and have this conversation?
Well, I would have hoped that wouldn't have even been the question. It would have been obvious.
Right.
But in reality, I think you know, we've been seeing this coming. We've anticipated some of the needs that have been coming up. We like to think that we're very much need driven.
Right.
Our research is meeting the needs and the concerns of growers today. Our tagline is, you know, novel solutions for growing concerns. And so we try to 2 ears, 1 mouth. Listen.
Right.
You know, find out what people are facing. They're facing so many challenges. Last thing they need is somebody preaching at them saying, you need this.
Right. But speaking of that, is there going to be regulatory issues that come into play? I mean, there already is, but is there going to be
There's
more?
always the potential. You know, I think as we look at water quality and stewardship, I think those are things to pay attention to.
Right. Okay. Thanks for taking the time to tell me the story. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you for the opportunity.